In 1936, Max and Emma Hahn found a hammer with a wooden handle trapped inside solid rock near London, Texas. Scientists who study rocks found that the rock was over 400 million years old. But the hammer was made from 96.6% iron with small amounts of sulfur and chlorine. This type of metal mixture doesn't happen in nature and needs special heating methods that weren't invented until modern times. The Hahn family kept the object for many years, sometimes showing it to rock scientists and metal experts who said its age and what it was made of seemed impossible. The wooden handle had partly turned to stone while still attached to the metal top, showing the hammer had been trapped in the rock for millions of years. In 1983, a metal expert named Carl Ball did detailed tests on the hammer's metal part and found that the iron showed no signs of rust even though it had been in the air for millions of years. The metal had a crystal pattern inside that modern metal workers couldn't copy, meaning it was made using methods that were better than what we can do today. Most amazing was finding that the iron had amounts of elements that don't exist in natural earth materials. The unusual sulfur and chlorine amounts meant the metal had been made using methods that could control atoms with exactness that modern science thinks is impossible. When Ball tried to publish his discoveries in rock science magazines, the editors kept saying no even though they admitted his work was done well. Schools and universities said the hammer was a modern object that had somehow gotten into old rock through unknown rock processes. The rejections got worse when other labs confirmed Ball's metal analysis and said that the hammer's makeup couldn't be explained by any known natural or factory processes. The object showed proof that advanced metal making existed hundreds of millions of years before accepted human history. Museums that were asked to display the hammer said no, saying they worried about confusing explanations that could mix up what people understand about rock timelines. The Smithsonian Institution refused to look at the object, even though researchers asked many times. Government rock surveys avoided studying the London hammer, saying that unusual objects were outside their research job. However, secret documents show that similar impossible objects have been found and quietly taken away from dig sites. Recent attempts to do advanced testing of the hammer using modern scanning methods have been stopped by claims that such testing could harm the object. However, the testing rules seem designed to prevent further proof of the hammer's impossible features. The London hammer stays in a private collection, showing physical proof that advanced metal making existed millions of years before humans supposedly evolved, questioning basic ideas about technology development and showing that factory abilities have existed far longer than accepted history admits. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, sponge divers found a rusty bronze device in an ancient Roman shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera. At first dismissed as a simple star-measuring tool, the object was shown to be an incredibly complicated analog computer that could calculate planet positions, predict eclipses, and track space cycles with exactness that wouldn't be reached again until the invention of modern mechanical clocks over 1,000 years later. The Antikythera mechanism contains over 30 carefully made bronze gears that work together to do complex space math. The device could predict the positions of the sun, moon, and known planets for any date in the past or future, showing math and mechanical knowledge that far exceeded what was given to ancient Greek civilization. Dr. Derek de Solla Price's analysis in the 1970s showed that the mechanism used differential gearing, a technology historians believed wasn't invented until the 16th century. The gear ratios used math constants and space cycles that needed advanced understanding of planet mechanics and exact engineering. Most amazing was finding that the device could predict eclipses using the Saros cycle, calculate the 4-year Olympic cycle, and track the 19-year Metonic cycle used in ancient Greek calendars. The math skill needed for these calculations shouldn't have existed in the 1st century BCE. Recent CT scans have shown that the mechanism originally had far more functions than previously understood, including the ability to track all known planets and calculate their positions decades ahead. The device appears to have been a complete space computer that could model the entire known solar system. When researchers tried to build copies of the Antikythera mechanism using modern machine tools, They found that reaching the exactness of the original needed manufacturing closeness that challenged today's engineering abilities. The ancient craftsmen had reached mechanical exactness that exceeded modern standards. The mechanism's complexity suggests it wasn't a one-of-a-kind device, but part of a tradition of space computing that existed in the ancient world. However, no other examples of such complicated mechanical computers have been found in dig sites, suggesting organized removal or destruction of similar objects. Schools and universities have struggled to explain how ancient Greeks could have had the math knowledge and mechanical engineering abilities needed to create such a complicated device. The mechanism questions established timelines of technology development and suggests that advanced scientific knowledge existed in ancient times. Museums display the Antikythera mechanism as an example of ancient Greek cleverness, while downplaying its revolutionary meaning for understanding ancient technology abilities. Educational materials focus on cultural importance rather than technical skill that contradicts accepted historical timelines. The Antikythera mechanism shows proof that ancient civilizations had advanced mechanical and math knowledge that has been systematically underestimated, suggesting that technology development doesn't follow the straight line that modern education assumes, and that complicated scientific abilities existed far earlier than accepted history admits. In 1961, rock collectors Wallace Lane, Virginia Maxey, and Jack Kinney found what looked like a 500,000-year-old spark plug trapped in solid rock while searching for geodes in the Coso Mountains of California. X-ray analysis showed a perfectly preserved modern spark plug surrounded by a six-sided wooden case embedded in rock, that rock dating placed in the Middle Pleistocene, epoch hundreds of thousands of years before humans supposedly developed car engines. The object was found in a rock formation that showed no signs of recent intrusion or fake placement. The stone covering had formed naturally around the spark plug through rock processes that needed hundreds of thousands of years. Yet the inside parts stayed perfectly preserved. X-ray examination by Keene College showed that the object had a metal shaft, ceramic insulator, and threaded parts identical to modern spark plug design. The preservation was so complete that individual parts were clearly visible, including spring mechanisms and electrical parts that shouldn't have existed in prehistoric times. Most amazing was finding that the spark plug's design matched patents that weren't filed until the 20th century. Yet rock analysis confirmed that the rock formation was hundreds of thousands of years old. The object showed impossible out-of-time technology embedded in ancient rock layers. When the collectors tried to interest museums and universities in the object, schools and universities kept dismissing it as a modern intrusion despite rock evidence proving its ancient origin. Researchers refused to do detailed analysis that might confirm the spark plug's impossible age. The systematic dismissal got worse when independent rock scientists confirmed that the rock formation showed no evidence of recent disturbance and that the object had been naturally embedded through long-term rock processes. The evidence contradicted every assumption about technology development timelines. Scientific magazines refused to publish research about the Coso artifact, saying that extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence, while at the same time refusing to examine the evidence that could prove or disprove the object's realness and age. Government rock surveys avoided investigating the discovery site, saying budget limits and research priorities that didn't include unusual objects. However, the area was later restricted to unauthorized access through environmental protection designations. Recent attempts to do advanced rock analysis of the Coso artifact have been blocked by claims that the object is in a private collection and unavailable for scientific study. However, the original X-rays and photographs continue to document its impossible features. The Coso artifact shows physical proof that car engine technology existed hundreds of thousands of years before accepted human history, questioning basic ideas about technology development and suggesting that advanced engineering abilities have existed far longer than official timelines admit. In 1936, German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig discovered a collection of clay jars in Kujut Rabu, Iraq, that looked like 2,000-year-old electric batteries. The objects contained copper cylinders, iron rods, and tar stoppers arranged in setups that could make electrical current when filled with acidic liquids, proving that ancient Mesopotamian civilizations had discovered and used electricity 2,000 years before Benjamin Franklin's experiments. The Baghdad batteries consisted of clay jars containing copper cylinders that enclosed iron rods. The parts were sealed with tar and showed signs of rust patterns consistent with electrochemical reactions, suggesting they'd been used to make electrical current for long periods. Testing by electrical engineers confirmed that the objects could produce up to 1.1 volts when filled with citric acid or other electrolytes. The voltage was enough to power small electrical devices and could be used for electroplating, electrical stimulation, or lighting uses. Most amazing was finding that the batteries used design rules that showed smart understanding of electrochemistry and electrical flow. The copper and iron parts were exactly set up to maximize electrical output while minimizing rust damage. Koenig documented finding over a dozen battery-like objects in the same dig site, suggesting that electrical technology was common in ancient Mesopotamian civilization. The objects were associated with jewelry and metalwork that showed evidence of electroplating methods needing electrical current. When Koenig tried to publish his findings about ancient electrical technology, schools and universities dismissed his research as wrong understanding of ceremonial objects. Archaeologists refused to admit that ancient civilizations could have had electrical knowledge. The systematic dismissal continued when electrical engineers confirmed that the objects were genuine batteries that could produce measurable electrical current. Museums displayed the Baghdad batteries as mysterious objects while avoiding talk of their electrical abilities. Scientific institutions refused to do full analysis of the electrical technology, saying that such research fell outside established archaeological methods. However, the consistent rejection suggested coordinated efforts to hide evidence of ancient electrical knowledge. Modern copies of the Baghdad batteries have confirmed their electrical abilities and shown that ancient Mesopotamians had practical electrical technology that could have powered various uses, including lighting, communication, and manufacturing processes. The Baghdad battery shows proof that electrical technology existed in ancient civilizations 2,000 years before accepted timelines of electrical discovery, questioning basic ideas about technology development and suggesting that scientific knowledge has been repeatedly achieved and lost throughout human history. In 1851, blasting operations at Meeting House Hill in Dorchester, Massachusetts, uncovered a metal container embedded in solid rock that was estimated to be 100,000 years old. The object was made from an unknown metal mixture decorated with detailed flower patterns and showed evidence of advanced manufacturing methods that exceeded 19th century factory abilities. The Dorchester pot was found 15 feet below the surface in solid rock that showed no signs of recent disturbance. The container was perfectly preserved and showed evidence of exact manufacturing, including uniform wall thickness, decorative inlays, and surface treatments that needed advanced metal knowledge. Analysis by metal experts showed that the pot was made from a mixture that couldn't be identified using available testing methods. The metal makeup included elements and ratios that didn't happen naturally and suggested manufacturing processes that exceeded current factory abilities. Most amazing were the decorative patterns that covered the container's surface. The designs were inlaid with silver and showed artistic skill that contradicted assumptions about prehistoric artistic abilities. The patterns included geometric shapes and flower designs that needed advanced design knowledge and exact craftsmanship. The Boston Society of Natural History examined the object and confirmed its rock age, while admitting that its manufacturing skill couldn't be explained by known prehistoric cultures. The Society published initial findings, but later withdrew support for research that questioned established archaeological timelines. When newspapers reported the discovery, schools and universities quickly dismissed the Dorchester pot as a rock oddity or wrongly identified natural formation despite clear evidence of artificial manufacturing and decorative work that couldn't happen through natural processes. The systematic dismissal got worse when independent metal experts confirmed that the object's makeup and manufacturing exactness exceeded what could be done using 19th century factory methods, suggesting that advanced metalworking had existed in prehistoric times. Museums refused to get the Dorchester pot for display, saying concerns about confusing explanations that could mix up public understanding of prehistoric technology abilities. The object disappeared from public view, and its current location is unknown. Recent attempts to find the Dorchester pot for modern analysis have been unsuccessful, with institutions saying no knowledge of where it is, despite documented historical reports of its discovery and initial analysis by real scientific organizations. The Dorchester pot shows evidence that advanced metalworking and artistic abilities existed 100,000 years before accepted human history, questioning basic ideas about prehistoric technology development and suggesting that complicated manufacturing has existed far longer than official timelines admit. Over the past several decades, miners in South Africa have found hundreds of metal spheres in Precambrian rock formations that are nearly 3 billion years old. The spheres are made from pyrophyllite and hematite, show evidence of artificial manufacturing, and contain inside structures that suggest they were created using advanced technology that shouldn't have existed when Earth was still developing its earliest life forms. The Klarksdorp spheres are perfectly round or oval objects that range from 1 to 4 inches in diameter. Many have 3 parallel grooves around their middle that appear to have been machine-made with exactness that needs advanced manufacturing methods. Rock analysis confirmed that the spheres were embedded in natural rock formations during the Precambrian era, approximately 2.8 billion years ago. At this time, Earth's atmosphere had no oxygen and only basic tiny organisms existed, making artificial manufacturing impossible according to accepted evolution timelines. Most amazing is finding that many spheres are hollow and contain materials that shouldn't exist in natural formations. Some contain unknown substances that haven't been identified by chemical analysis, suggesting manufacturing processes that use materials and methods beyond current understanding. The spheres show evidence of exact engineering, including uniform density, perfectly round geometry, and inside structures that suggest they were created for specific technology purposes. The level of exactness needed for their manufacturing exceeds what could be done by natural rock processes. When rock scientists tried to explain the spheres as natural rock lumps, chemical analysis showed that their makeup and structure were inconsistent with any known rock formation process. The spheres appeared to be genuine manufactured objects embedded in ancient rock. Museums that display the Klarksdorp spheres describe them as mysterious rock formations while avoiding talk of their apparent artificial manufacturing. Educational materials focus on their age and makeup while downplaying evidence of technology creation. Scientific institutions have avoided full analysis of the sphere's inside structures and manufacturing evidence, saying that such research falls outside rock research jobs. However, the consistent avoidance suggests coordinated efforts to prevent confirmation of artificial manufacturing. Recent discoveries of similar spheres in other locations worldwide suggest that the Klarksdorp objects aren't isolated oddities, but show evidence of global technology activity during Earth's earliest periods when no advanced life forms should have existed. The Klarksdorp spheres show physical proof that advanced manufacturing technology existed nearly 3 billion years ago, questioning basic ideas about the development of life on Earth and suggesting that technology abilities predate biological evolution by impossible time frames. In 1974, workers found 3 objects buried together on the banks of the Mureș River near Iași, Romania. 2 were identified as mastodon bones dating to 20,000 years ago, but the third was a metal wedge made from aluminum alloy that shouldn't have existed until the 19th century. The object was embedded in the same rock layer as the ancient bones, proving it was placed during the Pleistocene epoch when humans supposedly lacked metalworking abilities. The Iași wedge is approximately 8 inches long, 5 inches wide, and 3 inches thick with a complex shape that includes 2 holes and unusual surface patterns. The object shows evidence of machine tooling and exact manufacturing that needed advanced metal knowledge and factory equipment. Chemical analysis showed that the wedge was made from an aluminum alloy containing copper and other trace elements. Since aluminum needs extensive factory processing to extract from ore and wasn't isolated until 1825, the object's presence in 20,000-year-old rock deposits shows an impossible out-of-time occurrence. Most amazing was finding that the aluminum alloy's makeup differed from modern aluminum production, suggesting manufacturing methods that use different extraction and refining processes. The alloy showed properties that modern metalworking couldn't easily copy. The object's shape and tooling marks showed it was part of a larger mechanical device, possibly serving as a part of machinery that needed exact engineering and advanced manufacturing abilities. The complexity suggested complicated technology systems existed in prehistoric times. When Romanian archaeologists tried to publish findings about the aluminum wedge, schools and universities dismissed the object as modern contamination despite rock evidence proving its ancient setting. International archaeological organizations refused to admit its realness. The systematic dismissal continued when independent metal experts confirmed the object's aluminum makeup and ancient setting. Museums declined to display the wedge, saying concerns about confusing explanations that could question established archaeological timelines. Scientific magazines refused to publish research about the eyed wedge, saying that aluminum objects couldn't exist in prehistoric settings regardless of rock evidence. The consistent rejection suggested coordinated efforts to hide evidence of ancient metalworking. Government archaeological institutions avoided investigating the discovery site and restricted access to prevent further digging that might uncover additional out-of-time objects. The area was later declared protected without explanation. The eyed wedge shows proof that advanced aluminum metalworking existed 20,000 years before its supposed invention, questioning basic ideas about technology development and suggesting that factory abilities have existed far longer than accepted history admits. Since the 1930s, thousands of carved stones have been found near Ica, Peru, showing humans living with dinosaurs, doing advanced surgical procedures, and using complicated technology that contradicts accepted timelines of human development. The stones show evidence of ancient carving methods and contain detailed knowledge about extinct species, medical procedures, and space events that prehistoric people shouldn't have had. The Ica stones are andesite rocks carved with designs showing humans hunting dinosaurs, riding prehistoric reptiles, and using advanced tools and machines. The carvings show detailed body knowledge of extinct species and technology understanding that exceeds accepted prehistoric abilities. Dr. Javier Cabrera, who collected over 15,000 stones, documented that the carvings showed impossible scenes, including humans doing heart surgery, brain operations, and organ transplants using complicated medical instruments. The surgical methods shown were modern procedures that weren't developed until the 20th century. Most amazing were stones showing space knowledge, including star charts, planet positions, and cosmic events that needed advanced math calculations and watching instruments. The space information showed scientific knowledge that exceeded ancient abilities. Chemical analysis of the carving methods showed that the stones were created using tools and methods that produced distinctive or patterns consistent with ancient manufacturing. The aging of the carved surfaces suggested the artwork was genuinely old rather than modern fakes. The stones showed technology including flying machines, optical instruments, and mechanical devices that suggested advanced abilities. The technical drawings showed understanding of physics and engineering principles that prehistoric peoples supposedly lacked. When archaeologists investigated the Ica stones, they dismissed them as modern hoaxes despite evidence of ancient carving methods and genuine aging. Schools and universities refused to do detailed analysis that might confirm their realness and meanings. The systematic dismissal got worse when rock analysis confirmed that many stones were carved using ancient methods and showed genuine aging patterns. Museums declined to display the stones, saying concerns about fake archaeology explanations. Government archaeological authorities stopped digging of stone deposits and restricted access to prevent scientific analysis that might confirm the object's realness and question established prehistoric timelines. The Ica stones show evidence that ancient Peruvian civilizations had advanced medical, technology, and space knowledge while living with extinct species, questioning basic ideas about prehistoric abilities and suggesting that complicated knowledge existed far earlier than accepted history admits. In 1889, while drillers near Nampa, Idaho, pulled out a small clay figurine from a depth of 320 feet in rock layers that were over 2 million years old. The object was a complicated artistic representation of a human female created with advanced ceramic methods and artistic skill that showed cultural development millions of years before humans supposedly evolved the ability for symbolic art and complicated craftsmanship. The Nampa figurine was found in Pliocene clay deposits that rock analysis confirmed were laid down over 2 million years ago. The object was pulled out during well drilling operations from undisturbed rock layers that showed no evidence of later intrusion or contamination. The figurine showed remarkable artistic skill, including realistic human proportions, detailed face features, and evidence of advanced ceramic firing methods. The craftsmanship needed artistic training, cultural development, and technology abilities that exceeded accepted prehistoric human abilities. Most amazing was finding that the figurine's ceramic makeup and firing methods were more complicated than pottery from known prehistoric cultures. The object showed evidence of advanced ceramic technology that needed controlled firing temperatures and specialized clay preparation. Geological Society of Boston examined the figurine and confirmed its ancient setting while admitting that its artistic skill couldn't be explained by accepted theories about human cultural development. The Society first published findings, but later withdrew support for research, questioning evolution timelines. When museums were asked to display the Nampa figurine, they declined to get it, saying concerns about confusing dating that could mix up public understanding of human evolution development. Schools and universities avoided research that might confirm the object's meanings. The systematic dismissal continued when independent rock analysis confirmed the figurine's 2-million-year-old setting and authenticated its ancient ceramic methods. Scientific institutions refused to admit evidence that questioned established evolution timelines. Archaeological magazines rejected research about the Nampa figurine, saying that complicated art couldn't exist in rock settings predating human cultural evolution. The consistent rejection suggested coordinated efforts to hide evidence of ancient artistic abilities. Recent attempts to find the Nampa figurine for modern analysis have been unsuccessful, with institutions saying no knowledge of where it is despite documented historical reports of its discovery and initial scientific examination. The Nampa figurine shows proof that complicated artistic and ceramic abilities existed 2 million years before accepted human cultural development, questioning basic ideas about the evolution of human creativity and suggesting that advanced artistic skills have existed far longer than official timelines admit. In 1976, paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey found preserved footprints in volcanic ash at Litoli, Tanzania, that appeared to show 3 hominids walking upright 3.6 million years ago. However, detailed analysis showed that the prints included evidence of modern-style footwear and body features that suggested the walkers had physical abilities that wouldn't evolve for millions of years, basically questioning accepted timelines of human evolution. The Litoli footprints were preserved in volcanic ash that hardened into rock, creating a permanent record of the walking sequence. The prints showed clear evidence of 2-legged walking with stride patterns and foot body structure that showed fully developed upright walking abilities. Initial analysis by Leakey's team focused on the evolution importance of early 2-legged walking, but detailed examination showed oddities that couldn't be explained by accepted evolution development. Some prints showed evidence of heel, strikes, and toe-off patterns that showed modern human walking mechanics. Most amazing was finding that several prints had impressions suggesting the walkers were wearing some form of foot protection. The prints showed boundary lines and pressure patterns that showed artificial sole materials rather than direct contact between feet and volcanic ash. Body structure analysis of the footprints showed arch structures, toe spacing, and pressure distribution patterns that matched modern human body structure rather than the foot structure expected from 3.6-million-year-old hominids. The walkers appeared to have fully modern human feet. When researchers tried to publish findings about the modern body structure features, schools and universities dismissed the evidence as wrong understanding of natural impressions despite clear photo and casting evidence of advanced body structure development. The systematic dismissal got worse when independent analysis confirmed that the footprints contained features that contradicted accepted evolution timelines. Museums displayed the Li-Toli footprints as evidence of early two-legged walking while avoiding talk of their body structure modern characteristics. Scientific institutions restricted access to the original footprints and prevented detailed analysis that might confirm their modern body structure features. Research proposals focusing on the body structure oddities were consistently rejected for funding. Government archaeological authorities stopped digging of additional footprint sites and restricted access to prevent discovery of more evidence that might question established evolution timelines and suggest that modern humans existed millions of years earlier than accepted. The Li-Toli footprints show evidence that body structure modern humans with advanced abilities existed 3.6 million years ago, questioning basic ideas about human evolution and suggesting that modern human body structure and possibly culture have existed far longer than official timelines admit. These 10 impossible objects show more than archaeological oddities. They are physical proof that human history has been systematically rewritten to hide uncomfortable truths about our past. From 500,000-year-old spar plugs to 2-million-year-old art, these objects prove that advanced technology, complicated culture, and modern human abilities have existed far longer than we've been taught. What connects these discoveries isn't just their impossible age, but the coordinated efforts to hide, dismiss, or conceal them from public awareness. Schools and universities, museums, and government agencies have worked together to make sure that evidence questioning established timelines never reaches mainstream recognition. The pattern is consistent. Extraordinary objects are found by believable researchers. Their realness is confirmed by legitimate analysis, and then they're systematically dismissed, removed from display, or lost entirely when their meanings become clear. The evidence suggests our understanding of human history has been deliberately limited to support specific stories about technology and cultural development. These objects prove that the straight-line progression of human advancement we've been taught is basically wrong. Advanced abilities, complicated technologies, and modern human features have existed throughout our history. But this evidence has been hidden to maintain established timelines that serve institutional interests rather than historical truth. The systematic hiding of these discoveries shows more than academic politics. It's the deliberate theft of human heritage and the hiding of our true abilities and origins. Somewhere in storage facilities and private collections lie the objects that could revolutionize our understanding of human potential and reveal just how extraordinary our ancestors truly were.